Y'all, can you imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people?
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you love breaking down viral moments, calling out nonsense and getting into the internet's widest debate, you are in the right place. Hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because we have a lot to talk about. And speaking of white debates, the internet is on fire today. A white woman decided to hop on video and ask a question that nobody asks. Can you imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people? Imagine the range. It's a double standard because this year's show had no white people. Girl, the internet gathered her like a high school group project is wide. Let's break this down.
Y'all, can you imagine if next year's Super Bowl is all white people? Can you envision how much rage that will cause? I can. But it's a double standard. Because this year's Super Bowl had not one white person in it. But it was cool. It was fine. I mean, I personally thought the show was trash, but that's my opinion. And I'm sure that I will get a ton of fucking hate for this video because I'm white and I'm saying this. But you know what? White people can experience racism. I'm sorry that ruffles some feathers, and I'm sorry that you think you own racism, because you don't. Grow up and do better.
So I know I basically made this video last week, but we'll run it back because ignorance is rampant, apparently. 2005, Paul McCartney and Sir Elton John. 2006, The Rolling Stones. All white performances, no black people. 2008, Tom Petty performed, all white performers. 2009 was Bruce Springsteen. He had a black church choir come out and perform one song. Other than that, all white people. 2010, The Who was there. No black people whatsoever. All very low ratings. No one complained about racism, DEI, or anything else y'all have to say right now. The saddest thing is that you think if they went back to an all-white performance group, it would be something new. No, it would just be the same thing y'all were doing a decade ago. And honestly, if we look back at it, I'm sure there's more all-white performances. Because there's got to be at least 2 country performances there with an all-white cast. Y'all will constantly sit here and make up shit about how white people are oppressed in today's time while not even thinking for a second, maybe I should just use this same phone I'm making this video with and just see if there's ever been an all-white performance at a Super Bowl. Ironically, it would have probably taken you more time to open that snack pack that you were eating than it would be to find that information out.
Tiffany, girl, not today. We're tired. Why would you put yourself in this position? Because now I have mean things to say, and it's all your fault. There are several things that we could imagine. Imagine if your parents weren't cousinlings and they could stop kissing each other and your family tree wasn't a wreath. Imagine if J-Lo never picked up a mic and didn't torture the world with her vocals. Like, these are the questions that need answers. But we don't have to imagine if the Super Bowl halftime performance was all white people, because it has been. In 1994, there was the Rockin' Country Sunday Super Bowl halftime performance. In 2003, there was Shania Twain. In 2005, Paul McCartney. 2006, The Rolling Stones. 2008, Tom Petty. 2009, Bruce Springsteen. I could go on, but you get the point, right? Right. Also, I looked through your page, and you're a Trump supporter. I thought y'all didn't like DEI. Stinker butt. What happened? But mind you, and this is the craziest part, so let me hold your hand with an napkin in between when I say this. There were white people all throughout Kendrick Lamar's performance. And I understand your brain is smooth as satin and your last 2 brain cells are fighting for 10th fucking place, so let me explain it to you. In the very beginning of the performance, we have Samuel L. Jackson dressed as Uncle Sam saying, "Welcome to the great American game." He wasn't talking about football. He was talking about how America controls us and plays a game, and how do they do that? With white supremacy and oppression, girl. That was created by white people. Further on in the performance, we see that Samuel L. Jackson says that Kendrick Lamar is being too loud, too reckless, and too ghetto. Who created those stereotypes? White people. We also see Kendrick Lamar reference 40 Acres and a Mule, a promise made by white people to previously enslaved black Americans to give them land and resources to help them economically. A promise that was broken, by the way. And also, there was a white dancer who hijacked their way into the performance. Mind you, the contract said you must identify as an African American. Taking an opportunity away from black people? Sounds about white. Now, these are just a few examples throughout the performance. There's plenty more, but I don't want to overwhelm you because it looks like you're hooked on everything but phonics and thinking might be a little hard. Just because you did not see yourself in the performance does not mean that you weren't there. Let me add a second napkin when I tell you this. Unfortunately, y'all are always there. Hence the reason why Kendrick Lamar needed to put this deeper message in the performance. Hope this helps. Peace and love. Talk to you later.
It's always the ones that look like this. Okay. First off, no. No, white people cannot experience racism. When you bark content of character, not color of skin at us for decades, do not be surprised if we start to notice that the content of your character is a racist bitch. Or a racist dick. It's kind of one of those things, you know? It comes with the packaging. Secondly, there have been white singers, white bands, white artists performing at the fucking Super Bowl since the halftime show of Super Bowl I. That was an all-white marching band. Fuck you talking about? No, I get it what it is. I get what it is. Long-ass fingernails. How do you wipe your booty hole? I understand what it is. I'm going to help you out with that. Gonna help you out with that. It's not the fact that it was all black. It's the fact that it was black in the first place. Can we go ahead and stop bullshitting, please? Let's all have this uncomfortable conversation, shall we? Especially you, tattooed hand white lady. Woo! I bet you drive the boys wild over there at the white supremacist meetings. Y'all have a problem with black folk doing anything. 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 We dance, you don't like it. When we sing, you don't like it. When we rap, you don't like it. When we wear our natural hairstyles, you don't like it. When we wear bald heads, you don't like it. When we wear jeans, you don't like it. When we walk down the street, you don't like it. When we buy stuff, you don't like it. When we show off, you don't like it. You just don't like black people. That's what it really is. You thought the Super Bowl halftime show was trash. Well, congratulations. It fucking wasn't for you. Tattooed hand lady with long ass saber-tooth claws. How do you wipe your booty? I'm so wondering how you wipe your ass with them shings. I bet your fingernails smell like just sewage. But anywho. That's what it comes down to. This halftime Super Bowl show, this Super Bowl halftime show, is now the new litmus test. Just like, did you vote for Donald Trump? It is. My fingernails have been a litmus test for every man that has ever seen them. 90% of the men, they're like, hey, that's his hands. I don't give a fuck. It look kind of cool to me. The other 10% are some insecure, unmasculine motherfuckers. This Super Bowl halftime show is the exact same thing. It is a litmus test for white people. So many of you are failing. Like, the grade y'all got is just... I mean, how do you bottom out after hitting the bottom? He had a song in there that best exemplifies what you could have done about the Super Bowl halftime show. Turn the TV off. Turn the TV off. But you didn't. So I guarantee you, you're the sort of person that will eat an entire dinner, then complain about how it tastes. Didn't stop it from shoveling it down your throat. Now did it? So many of you are failing the litmus test. And by association, you're also revealing that you guys really do like DEI as long as it's in your favor. It's funny how that works, isn't it? I hate DEI, but how come there wasn't no white folks on the Black Guy Super Bowl halftime show? Guess you're comfortable with DEI then, aren't you? You see, y'all don't like to be excluded from shit. Y'all want to be in the middle of it. Y'all want to be centered. And I'm sorry, the world doesn't work that way. By the way, again, I'm really wondering, how do you wipe your ass with them claws? She looks like Black Cat from the Stargirl show. Anywho, that's all this comes down to. It's a litmus test. Y'all don't like black people. You don't. You've done everything you possibly can to mimic. And when you do mimic, it looks like ass. That's why we can keep Eminem. Y'all can have Tom McDonald. How do you Xerox copy one of the best white hip-hop artists of all time, and then in the midst of Xerox copying it, the copier breaks? Tom McDonald.
This entire situation is a masterclass in willful ignorance and historical nemesis. The fact that this woman genuinely believes that having an all-black Super Bowl halftime show is some kind of radical, unprecedented event is proof that some people are only interested in playing the victim when it suits them. Let's break down why her argument doesn't hold up to even the smallest amount of croutining. This woman is acting as if the Super Bowl halftime shows has been some diverse, equitable, and fair platform for decades, and that suddenly black artists are taking over. That is objectively false. If we go back through the years, we can count multiple all-white halftime performances that nobody batted an eye at. Let's list a few. 2005, Paul McCartney, all white. 2006, The Rolling Stones, all white. 2008, Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, all white. 2009, Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band, all white, except for a black gospel chore for one song. 2010, The Who, again all white. These performances happened back to back for years, and there was no outrage. Nobody was crying about a lack of representation. Nobody was calling it anti-black or saying there was a double standard. Why? Because historically, whiteness has been the default in entertainment spaces. When white performers dominated the Super Bowl halftime show, it wasn't questioned. But the moment an all-black lineup takes the stage, suddenly is a problem. That is not a double standard. That is just white fragility showing itself in real time. She says, imagine if next year's Super Bowl was all white. Ma'am, we don't have to imagine. We literally have the receipts. The Super Bowl halftime show has been overwhelmingly white for most of its history. This is not some hypothetical scenario. It's already happened. And let's be real, if next year's Super Bowl had an all-white performances, no one would be shocked because it would just be history repeating itself. Would people be mad? Maybe some. But would it be the kind of widespread outrage she's suggesting? No. And the reason is simple. White performers are not systemically excluded from entertainment spaces. They dominate music festivals, award shows, radio airline, and major performances across multiple genres. Black artists, on the other hand, have historically been shut out from these major opportunities. For decades, black artists had to fight for inclusion, and now they are getting these opportunities. Suddenly is a problem. This woman throws in the classic, white people can experience racism line, which is always a red flag. Let's be clear. Individuals, white people can experience prejudice, discrimination, and unfair treatment, but racism, the kind that is systemic, generational, and built into the foundation of institutions, no. Racism is about power. It's about the ability to oppress an entire racial group on a societal level. Black people and other marginalized groups have never had the power to systemically oppress white people. Let's put this way. If a black person doesn't like white people and refuses to talk to them, that is prejudice. But if a black person had the institutional power to deny white people's job, housing, education, and basic human rights for centuries, that would be racism. See the difference? And this argument always comes from people who doesn't actually face racism but just don't like being held accountable for their privilege. Now let's talk about the responses, because the internet did not hold back. One person straight up said, "I know I basically made this video last week, but let's run it back because ignorance is rampant," and they proceeded to drag her with historical facts about all white halftime performances. Another person called out how fast she could have debunked her own argument if she just googled for 5 seconds instead of making a whole video about how oppressed white people are. She could have just done some research, but that is the thing, people like this don't actually want to learn. They want to be loud and wrong. And then there was this absolute masterpiece of a clapback from another creator who said, "We don't have to imagine an all-white Super Bowl halftime show because it's already happened multiple times. Meanwhile, your family tree looks like a rot." The disrespect, the savages, the accuracy. Another response pointed out something even funnier. KD Lemmer's performance actually had white people in it. It wasn't an all-black performance, and even if it was intentional storytelling, not exclusion. His performance tackled themes of oppression, stereotypes, and American history. Samuel L. Jackson was literally on stage references how white supremacy controls the narratives in this country. And let's not ignore that a white dancer made it into the performance despite the contract specifically stating the performer had to be black. So even a performance about black history, white people still manage to insert themselves. The actual double standard here isn't about race, it's about who gets played to the victim. When black artists dominate a performance, white people claim oppression. When white artists dominate a performance, it's just a business as usual. If we want to talk about real double standard, let's talk about how black artists have been historically banned from award shows, had their music stolen, and have had to work twice as hard to get half the recognition. But sure, let's act like a single Super Bowl performance is oppression. At the end of the day, this woman's entire argument falls apart under even the slightest bit of critical thinking. The Super Bowl has had plenty of all-white performance, and nobody cared. The moment black artists are given the stage suddenly is a problem. That is not a double standard. That is just racism wrapped in victimhood. Instead of complaining about the imaginary issue, maybe try using that same energy to uplift artists of all backgrounds, or at the very least, Google things before making a video. The internet had time today, and honestly, they handled this exactly how it needed to be handled. That is it for today, y'all. Let me know your thoughts in the comment because I know you all got something to say. Do you think this argument even holds weight, or was this just another example of someone trying to play the victim? Let's discuss. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I will catch you all in the next one. Peace.